of Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor. There's dudes that use like he uses a Nate Diaz type Snapchat filter. On my Instagram, there's a video of it. Dude, it's fucking hysterical. It's a parody of Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz like getting intimate. Getting like slightly gay. Have you seen this?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh, dude, it's
I have my limits.
It's so fucking good.
That's hilarious.
The guy who does Nate Diaz is perfect. That could be a cartoon, dude. Just Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, like the odd couple, just hanging out. That'll be an easy hit, easy sensation.
Dude, the pace in which those guys fought that 5-round fight.
I don't think I've ever screamed as
Holy
much
shit.
during that fight. I was actually screaming, going, ah, ah, like all through the fight. It was so intense.
That was a fight where I felt like, man, I would have rather done a fight companion for this than call it. Because I wanted to swear a bunch of times.
I don't think I've ever got as excited for any fight ever. Seriously. Maybe the only other one was Nogueira, Bob Sapp. That's the only other one.
God damn, that's crazy.
That was such an amazing fight. Holy shit. Conor McGregor, man. Holy shit.
And Nate Diaz,
They're both
man.
awesome. They're both awesome.
That was a great fight. You mean, I honestly, I haven't gone back and watched it again and tried to score it. And I stopped a long time ago trying to score fights while I'm watching them. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
I mean, the fact that he went 5 rounds and Nate Diaz, he kept up with them. I thought for sure if they went past 3, Nate was just going to completely dominate. And he fucking hung in there, man. Survived that 4th round.
It seemed like he kind of caught a second wind somewhere around the 4th round. And he started punching like looser and more relaxed, like sort of fell into a different pace.
Yeah.
You know?
That fight proved that Conor has, he proved that he has legit heart.
Oh, yeah.
He was in trouble there a couple rounds, and Nate was messing him up and had him against the fucking cage. It looked like he was slowing down. And he fucking regrouped. He got a second wind or whatever you want to call it. He came back and fuck.
It was an important fight to watch, you know, because that was a guy that had just decided that he was not going to be defined by this one fight. And that it was not going to be defined by his past result, and that he's better than that, and he's going to come in, he's going to show everybody. And dude, if he could keep that pace up that he fought in that 1st round, you know, it's like he's so explosive. And Dominic Cruz was talking about it, and it really got me thinking, man. He said, I don't know if you could fight in a style like Conor does for 5 rounds. And I thought about it, I was like, wow, man. Dominic Cruz, first of all, would know, right? If anybody's going to know, Dominic has got a super high fight IQ. So I considered it out of respect. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, there's only one way to move that fast. When Conor closes the gap and blasts Nate with those left hands, the speed and explosiveness of it, that's a very tense movement. Like, that takes a lot of energy to do. I think it takes way more energy than what Nate does. Because what Nate and Nick do, they overwhelm you with volume and their overwhelming ability to maintain a certain level, like a certain level of activity. Like, especially Nick, he's the master at it, like maintaining a level of activity that you can't keep up with.
And then turn it on once they smell blood.
Yeah. Like the Frank Shamrock fight, great example of that. The Paul Daly fight is a great example of that. That was a war.
Imagine fighting a guy that's their style.
Ooh,
they wear you down, and as soon as they smell blood, that's when they turn it on.
Yeah.
You don't want a guy like that. No. You want a guy that, you know.
And he's talking shit the whole time he's punching you.
Yeah.
The whole time he's punching you, he's talking shit. You never get to relax.
Yeah.
He's like, what, bitch? What, bitch? And he's hitting you. I think there was a referee. Dude, I'm trying to remember who was fighting. But there was a referee once where 2 guys were fighting. I want to say it's Nick Diaz, but it might not have been. Where the referee was telling him to stop talking. And I was like, don't tell him to stop talking. Why would you tell him to stop talking? As if it's somehow or another, it's worse to beat someone's ass and talk shit than it is to just beat their ass. That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
You know? Why can't you talk shit?
And Nate Diaz he's beyond a rock star. I mean, he's as huge. Famous as a rock star. I mean, right now, dude, on Instagram, he's already over 1 million followers. Yeah. I mean, he is he's got that attitude that there'll never be another Nate Diaz.
No,
you know what I mean. There'll be. I mean, can you imagine a guy trying to emulate his personality? You know, there'll never be anybody like Nate. And the one thing that impressed me, a lot about Nate Diaz is his ability to trash talk in the media back. I mean, that touch butt stuff. I mean, shit. Some people thought he was going to get trounced, and he got real quick.
Yeah. No, he's good at that. First of all, he doesn't get rattled, and that was a big problem in the first fight, I think, too, with Conor, that he had to overcome. This is the first guy that not only did he not get rattled, he got back at him. Yeah. And he made him flinch at the weigh-ins. I think that was big.
Yeah,
that was huge. A bunch of people talked about that. Red Band was one of the first people that pointed it out to me. He sent me a thing. He goes, dude, look, he flinched. And I went, oh, shit, he flinched. That seems so stupid.
Yeah.
It seems so fourth grade. But there might be something to it,
Was that the greatest UFC fight ever?
God damn it, man. It's so hard to tell. There's so many good ones these days.
But
it was one of the all-time
clashes,
greats.
plus the fact that Conor's considered, already he's considered one of the greatest. Some people might say he's the greatest of all time. Some people might say that just based on what they've seen.
It is amazing. But then there's Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler.
And then Nate Diaz as well. Nate Diaz, the guy that people consider the new unstoppable force, Nate Diaz stopped him. He choked him out. Now, second fight, it could have went either way. You know, I had Nate Diaz winning, but when looking back at it again, I'm like, shit, that second round, that's a hard one to score. I see how it could have gone either way. I really do.
It's almost a shame in a fight that's that close. Like, I would like to see what the results are. I think the majority of people thought that Conor won, and this is what I think you have to consider, those knockdowns. And that Conor was staggering him with those straight lefts and cracking him with those leg kicks. You look at like decisive moments in the fight. I feel like those decisive moments of super crisp punching where he knocks him down, where he's repeatedly landing that leg kick, that's kind of worth a lot. Like he was lighting him up.
But
early in that first round,
if it meant that much, you could look at it another way. If it meant that much, maybe it didn't mean that much, because if it did, how was he on his back when the fight ended and Nate Diaz is on top, grounding and pounding? Like, if all that meant so much, maybe it didn't mean that much after all.
Well, I don't know, man. You know,
that's just another way of looking at it. Yeah. Because in Pride, I mean, everybody knows that they judge fights based on how the fight looks at the end. Yeah. So how would the Japanese look at that?
Well, that moment where Nate's on top is huge. When he finally takes him down, that's huge.
I thought that cinched it. That's what I thought. I thought, okay, it's over. He got this round. Boom.
That's pretty huge, because also it's at the end of the fight, which I agree with you. I think it should matter more. Like the Japanese had it for where the last round was like the most important, right? They judge the fight as a whole, but
how does it look at the end?
Right.
Who's getting their ass beat at the end?
Which is a real point, right? Because the whole idea about what a fight's supposed to be, it's supposed to be like high-level problem solving, right?
Yeah.
And there's some guys that present like real scary problems, and you got to figure those problems out, and whoever's winning towards the end is the guy that really figured the problem out the best. Because the guy who's on the ground, you shouldn't really be thinking in a fight, I'm already ahead, I'm just gonna let this guy get on top of me. Like, nobody's thinking that, right? So if the guy does take you down late in the fight, it's because he's starting to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
That should be worth a lot. It should be worth a lot. I don't know how much, though. I mean, how